Do you have a story to share with the world? Of course you do. We all have stories to share. An Anchor podcast allows you to share your interests in a way that connects to others all across the globe. If you have been considering starting your own podcast and don't know where to begin, Anchor makes it easy to record, edit, and publish with the click of a button. You can even add music. Whether it's crime dramas, self improvement, paranormal adventures, or tips about parenting, you too can share your unique imprint on the world. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. You've got this. I believe in you. Welcome to the Existential Empath Podcast. My name is Tanya, and I am an intuitive empath. My intention is to share valuable tools and techniques that I have learned so you can tap into your own inner healer naturally and intuitively. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you are all having a beautiful now moment. I understand that many of my listeners are all over the world. So instead of saying day or night, I thought it'd be important to just say, I hope you're having a great now moment, because that's where we all need to be anyway. We need to be standing in that awareness and not looking back and not anticipating the future, but being in the now moment and being present. So this podcast today is going to be about how emotions affect our body. And I know I've done several podcasts on this, but this is going to be a little bit more in depth on ways that the body speaks to us. And our body is a mirror of our inner thoughts and our beliefs. And 90 to 95% of our root causes that show up physically are first represented energetically, mentally, and emotionally. So as we move through these different areas of the body, you will begin to recognize that the body literally speaks to us in a very, very almost like a childlike way. If you can take a look at each of the body parts and ask yourself, what does this body part do for me? You can usually trace back to a certain movement or capability that body part has, and apply it to an emotion or something mentally that maybe you could be facing in your life. So when we move through this information, just really open your mind and allow yourself to flow into different thought patterns or different things that may come up as I go through each of these body parts. Now, most of my information has come from Louise. I love her. Karol K. Truman, also, the book Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. I use that one often in my sessions. And also, some of this information has come from me when I am working with clients through whether it be EFT tapping, the emotion code, or beyond quantum healing hypnosis. These are some of the trends or the kind of the research that I've put together as well when I am noticing certain dis-ease or ailments in the body, and then that trapped emotion that is correlating with that particular area. So I have done pretty in-depth podcasts on the lungs. And if you have not listened to that, I suggest you go back. I've also got it on my YouTube channel. So the lungs carry grief, and that's where we take in our life, right? Our breath of life. So when our lungs are clogged or trapped with grief, and this can affect our heart as well. So any area within that heart chakra, the chest area, can be where our grief sits, our sadness, our loss, our sense of understanding in the world. So our lungs can carry that, and that's where we take in that breath of life. So if you're having ailments or issues in the areas of the lungs, then ask yourself, what am I grieving? And it doesn't necessarily even have to be a person. It can be, you're grieving, maybe you're moving and you're grieving, moving to a different area, or maybe you were pressured out of your home and you're grieving that, or maybe you lost a pet as well. There's so many different areas that grief can cover. So really just kind of, in your meditative state or in those quiet moments, ask yourself, what am I grieving? And really breathe into it, because the lungs are going to bring that chi, that fresh energy in to allow you to expand and see where it is that you may be holding on to. Our sinuses. I know this is an area that a lot of people struggle with, our sinuses. And if our sinuses are blocked, oftentimes it's that we have blocked tears. We are having a difficult time releasing that energy. So, whenever we release energy, it can come in many forms. It can come in crying, laughing, um, coughing, passing gas, burping, any type of movement. Yawning is a good one. I see that all the time with my clients. So when our sinuses are blocked, you could be irritated by someone who's close to you. So, put that into consideration. What is going on with the people around you that may be causing this? Breasts. I have done a podcast on breasts specifically, and that really just boils down to our motherly instincts, whether we are a mother or maybe we have an issue with our own mother. Maybe we're over mothering. It really focuses in on our mothering, nurturing aspects. So I encourage you to go watch that podcast if you're having some concerns in those areas. Uh, Anything with our head is something we may feel that there's something is wrong with us. We don't understand. And that can present itself in a variety of ways, specifically migraines. So, migraines are your pressure for perfectionism. Maybe you've suppressed anger. Um, you Headaches could be invalidating yourself or not forgiving yourself for something that has happened in your life. So, really diving into those areas and releasing that pressure. That's in that third eye chakra, and moving that energy out and really honing in on it and allowing yourself to let go of that need to be a perfectionist. And where did that perfectionist need be learned? Where was that learned? Was it learned by your mom or your dad or your grandmother? Where did that start? And go back to that root cause and really dive into that and look a little bit deeper. Our eyes. Is there something wrong with our eyes? And I know with me, this is an area that I've been working on. I look back to, you know, at the nearing the end of my marriage, I had gotten glasses, and I had never needed glasses. I'd always had perfect 20/20 vision. And right around it was about a year before we got a divorce, my eyes started to really go bad. And I had gotten glasses. And ever since then, I have struggled with my eyes. So I have been going back to that time and really diving in deeper. So oftentimes when we're struggling with seeing, it's something that we don't want to see. We are shutting it off, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future. So ask yourself, what is it that you don't want to see from the past, from the present, or the future? And for me, it was my past. And in that particular time, I just didn't want to see what was going on in my life. So I have been um, really working on my eyesight, and it has been improving through releasing those trapped emotions. Our ears. So let's talk about our ears. When we're having a hard time hearing, it's something that you do not want to hear. Oftentimes we'll have these issues with our children. Our kids will start having hearing problems, or things will come up, even deafness. It's like a long standing refusal to hear someone. You shut off that gift, that ability. It's almost similar to when I talked about our clairs, our clairsentient, clairaudient, clairvoyant. When we are young, it scares us and we shut it down. For me, it's funny. I've always had a difficult time hearing in my adult life. But when I went home last year, I was chatting with some of my old friends from high school, and they had shared with me that they remember me covering my ears all the time as a child, saying, "It's just too loud. It's just too loud." And honestly, I didn't even remember that. I guess I had maybe trapped that emotion um, in my subconscious. And I went back once I got home. I went back and started to heal that. And now, oh my gosh, my ears, I can hear things so clearly now and so far away. It's almost distracting because it's something that I haven't been able to do for so long. But I went back and worked on those areas of when did I shut that off? When did I shut off my hearing? And it was when I was younger. It was around the age of 7. when I had done that. So ask yourself, what is it that you don't want to hear? Our hair. Maybe you're losing hair. That's our sense of strength. Our maybe you're holding tension in your body, and your hair is now falling out. So where is it that you may not be showing your strength? And working on that a little bit more. Our neck is our ability to be flexible. And oftentimes, when we have a pain in the neck, it's because we are being stubborn with things that we might not be moving forward with in our life. And that can tie into the throat. So, our throat is our ability to speak up for ourselves and using that I am, that I am. Uh, and oftentimes, when our throat is blocked, we have and we feel inadequate to stand up for ourselves. We will shut it off. We'll bite our tongue, so to speak. And what that does is it closes off that energy of the throat chakra. So if you are struggling with a sore throat or laryngitis, you may be so angry that you can't speak. What is it that you're angry about? What is it that's manifesting? Now, I want to be clear that when you look at these things, it may not be something that's happening right in this now moment. It could be something that's happened a long time ago, whether it be in your human past or past lives. Oftentimes, when we go into past life regression, we can pull out these things that happened. Maybe you had to bite your tongue back in another life, and now that energy has carried on into this current lifetime. So when you are thinking of these things in your meditations or in your quiet time or journaling, then keep in mind that it may not be right in this exact now moment. There may be something that's being triggered in this now moment to cause the reaction that's happening, but the root cause could be something that goes back even deeper. So, are you having thyroid problems or tonsillitis? This is where we get frustrated creatively. So, if we aren't utilizing our creative outlets enough, and this one comes up often for me on the emotion code, is the creative insecurity. I often see that one come up with clients. And that can definitely close off your throat chakra, but that's also um, connected to your kidney, the kidney as well, the kidney meridian. So oftentimes you'll have, when you have that creative block, you could be having problems with your kidneys as well. Maybe you have a cough. A cough means that you are processing change. I am changing. I am releasing resistance. I am letting that go. So that's always a good indicator. Sneezing and coughing are always really good indicators that the energy is moving throughout the body. Now, let's move down the body a little bit to our arms and our hands. So, our upper elbows. Oftentimes, I was having some difficulty in my right elbow, and I began to realize that I wasn't being flexible. I was being very stubborn, and I was not bending in certain areas of my life. And I was having a difficult time changing directions. It was like, okay, I've taken these leaps and I've done this, and now I'm moving forward, but I started to have some pain in my right elbow, and I was recognizing that, okay, I need to just go with the flow more. I need to stop trying to hold on to things so much with such a tight grip, and it's time for me to just open myself up and be like water, right? Be like water and go with the flow. um, our hands are that's where arthritis can set in oftentimes, and that could mean that we're being critical of ourselves. Arthritis, anytime that presents rheumatoid or any type of arthritis, it's us beating ourselves up subconsciously. And this can go back really far. This could go back to childhood, to past lives. Anytime that we have had those negative thoughts in our mind about whether it's self-sabotaging ourselves or self-demeaning ourselves, it creates a record. It creates that record of playing over and over and over again, and then that creates that buildup in our body, which can then lead to the physical ailment of arthritis. Now let's move into our fingers. Our index finger, that's where we hold our anger and our fear. So if you're having some problems in that area, The thumb. I know I was having some areas in here. This is where our worry sets in. So just, massaging those areas and really just focusing on what am I worried about right now? What is coming up, for me? What am I stressing out about? The middle finger is maybe there's a block in sex or sexuality, or we are struggling with anger. Our ring finger is where grief sets in. So, rubbing the ring finger if you're having lung problems or asthma, COPD, rubbing the ring fingers on both hands can be very healing, moving that grief and just visualizing that grief leaving your body. Our pinky is where we have our family structure. That could be a worry there if there's something going on in the family. Maybe you're pretending to be involved or pretending to be a part of the family, and it's causing some pain in that area. So, moving down to our back is our support system. If you look at our spine, you can definitely see how our spine supports our entire body. So, when we break down the back, we can look at the three different areas of the back: the upper, the middle, and the lower. And each one of them can have different trapped emotions in those areas. So, the upper back is our lack of emotional support. So, on our shoulders, what burdens are we carrying? We're feeling unsupported emotionally, and that can present itself in the upper back. The middle back is where we hold on to our guilt. Um, are you afraid to see what's back there, right? Are you afraid to see what's going on back there? What happened in the past? And oftentimes, when we're holding on to guilt, it's something that's happened in the past. Our lower back, this is an area that I've struggled with. That's where we have our fear of finances, right? We might be struggling financially, and that's where those emotions will get trapped, is in that lower back and that sacrum area. Could be the hips, right around the hips as well. So when we're moving up to the heart, that's our sense of love for ourselves and others. And I also talked about how we can trap grief in our heart as well. So the heart and the lungs kind of go hand in hand. And anytime we're struggling with some sort of cancer, this is oftentimes a deep resentment in childhood. It could present itself in self pity or hopelessness. And this could get trapped all the way far back as, of course, past lives, but as far back as being in the womb with our mother. Maybe you as an empath are picking up the emotions of your mom. As a baby, we spend at least 9 months in our mother's womb, right? And during that time, whatever our mom goes through, we go through as well, and we will absorb those emotions. So oftentimes I will see clients carrying the emotions of their parents, of their mom, because they were so attached. We are so incredibly attached with our mother. Blood, if you're having any issues with your blood, that is a lack of joy, not having joy in our life. Bloodstone is an excellent crystal for that. I use bloodstone often. I love it. It cleanses your lymphatic system and your blood. It will move things through your body much easier. Rebounding is also a great way. That's jumping on a little trampoline and moving the blood, getting the blood to circulate better. And when we do those things, it's more childlike, right? When we're jumping on a trampoline, you think of children. You think of children enjoying themselves and laughing and giggling. If you think of a bouncy house, those types of things. That's bringing joy back into your life, which is also circulating your blood as well. So moving down to the stomach, our stomach. So say you're having a stomach ache or stomach problems. What is it that you don't know how to process? What is it that you can't stomach right now? So if something is making you feel a little nauseous or uneasy in the stomach area, ask yourself, what is it that I just can't stomach right now? What is coming up that needs to be cleared or needs to be processed? Ulcers. The ulcers are a fear of not being good enough, whether that's um, not being good enough for your parents or a loved one or work environment, or just not feeling good enough in general. That can present itself. It's like an inner self-esteem is very low. So you want to work on that. You want to work on self-care techniques, work on uh, uh, the cancel technique that I taught in a couple of episodes back, really diving in there and processing those negative emotions about yourself and reprogramming them, changing them, and notice how, maybe some of your ulcers will start to go away. And, when we start having issues in our genital areas as we begin to move down, oftentimes the issues in our genitals revolve around guilt or shame. So you may be rejecting sexuality or our bodies as being sinful. There is a concept called Mama's God. It's whatever your mom taught you about God before age 3 is how you feel about sex. So were you taught that sex was sinful? Were you taught that sex is beautiful, that it's dirty, whatever it is, you trap that emotion in your body, and then that as you go about your adult life, you play out those scenarios through sexuality. So, God has never told us to deny any part of our body. So all of our parts of our body are pure and clean and beautiful. So really getting back in there and cleansing those areas of thought and programming that we've had as early children will be very beneficial. The prostate for men, this is definitely something as men get older, they become afraid of losing their manhood, their vitality, their self-worth. So that can really tie into that as well. So, asking yourself, if you're a man who's struggling with prostate problems, you know, are you feeling that? Are you feeling afraid of losing your manhood or your vitality? What are some ways that you can get out there? Get out there and start doing some things that you enjoy. Do things that bring passion back into your life again. Um, I know something on a physical level that's excellent for prostate is called Shilajit. Shilajit comes from the Himalayan mountains, and it's like a tar-based substance, and you can drink it. It actually comes in tablets as well. I have seen many men heal from using Shilajit as well. So, there's when we heal our bodies, it's all very multifaceted. So when I'm speaking of diving into the emotional aspects, there's also an energetic factor as well as a physical factor. So, when we are looking at things from a physical standpoint, because we are living in a third dimensional reality, um, we will overlook the energetic and the emotional aspects. So it's important to dive a little bit deeper into that root cause. So we can utilize the physical um, things that we use, like Shilajit, but we also need to dive a little bit deeper into those emotional aspects to really get to the root cause of the issue. Our bladder is usually when we are pissed off, right? We are pissed off, or we're being pissed off, and this could be a partner, it could be someone at work, it could be just anything that's really getting under your skin and really upsetting you. Um, Impotence is we have spite against our partner. So that will present itself. Vaginitis, romantically hurt by a partner. So anytime we get a venereal disease, it could represent itself in sexual guilt. Herpes represents itself in emotional upset or emotional pain. The colon is the ability to let go. So if you are constipated, holding on because you are afraid to let go, could be the reason why. So it's just like your intestines are in knots, right? It's all tense and tight up in there. There's many different yoga positions that you can do. The cobra is a good one. Cat cow. There's some really good ones that you can get that resistance, that tightness out of your solar plexus area. But you also want to dive a little bit deeper into the emotional aspects as to, what are you holding on to and why don't you want to let go? Um, so our legs, as we move down to our legs, this could be a reluctance to move forward. If we are struggling with varicose veins, we could be standing in a place that we hate. We could be in a job that we hate. We could be in a home environment that we hate. Our knees, they are flexible, right? Our knees bend for us. And this is, if we're having problems with our knees, we're refusing to bend, very similar to the elbows. We have too much pride. Maybe our ego is setting in. We are stubborn, and we don't have the flexibility in our lives. So ask yourself, where can I be more flexible in my life? Our feet, that's our understanding of our life, right? We are grounded. We are understanding where we are, what our purpose is. How do we take a step forward in our life? Our skin, that's our individuality of being threatened. What's getting under my skin? A good affirmation for that is I approve of myself. I approve of myself. Saying that multiple times and using that in your cancel technique to reprogram yourself. Anytime we have accidents or expressions of anger, it basically means that we're rebelling against authority, right? So when we are expressing ourselves in a positive way, that can release those emotions that have been pent up inside of us for so long, right? So if repression can lead to depression, then what we want to do is we want to share expression. So, as you're expressing yourself and sharing what it is that you are going through, you are releasing and relieving that energy. However, it's important to not get stuck on sharing it over and over and over, because what you're doing is then you are creating or manifesting, per se, a pattern. And that can be detrimental in itself as well. So make sure as you're sharing it, you're often or you're also shifting your story as well to represent the story that you want in your life versus the old program that is playing itself out. Um, for those struggling with anorexia or bulimia, that's self-hatred, denial, not feeling good enough or not feeling worthy. I talked about arthritis earlier. That's perfectionism, critical of oneself and others. Asthma, falling into the lung category, is also grief, struggling with grief, but it can also mean smother love, which is feeling unworthy and guilty. So you will smother others out of fear of being abandoned or, rejected. If you have boils, burns, cuts, or sores, or any type of itis, this is considered inflammation. And oftentimes, the root emotion with inflammation is anger, right? I feel inflamed. I'm so inflamed. I'm so angry. If you're struggling with weight, being overweight, oftentimes, especially as empaths, I see this often, we want to seek protection. Or maybe there's a fear of life, or we're feeling insecure about something, or we're threatened by something in our life. So we create a weight around us, a weight of protection. Anytime we're struggling with any type of pain, it can often result from guilt or shame. And guilt and shame are two of the most uh, nastiest kind of emotions. And I don't even know if the word nasty is the right word, but those are, they just really get deeply ingrained in us. And we've got to get in there and really get deeper into the root cause as to why we have guilt and shame. Strokes can lead to a congestion in the bloodstream, which we talked about blood earlier, which is the lack of joy. And so when we're having any issues in the heart area, revolving around that, strokes can also result in the brain too. So those are going to be lack of joy. So getting out and doing things that service your heart, things that follow your heart, that will definitely help in those areas. Maybe you're having stiffness. That's fear, difficulty of being flexible, very similar to the knees and the elbows. Or maybe you're experiencing some swelling. That's a stagnation in the emotional thinking, bottling up tears, very similar to the sinuses. And so, these are just some very basic ones. And I know I kind of went through this rather quickly, but I wanted to share just how basic and how literal the body speaks to us. As we were going through that, you may have had some aha moments like, okay, you talked about the knee and how the knee bends and the knee provides flexibility. And when I'm having a knee problem, it means that I'm not being flexible and I'm being a little stubborn and I'm not bending. Okay, I can understand that, right? So the body literally speaks to us in the movements and the motions of those particular body parts or organs in the body. So I hope that you enjoyed this information and that maybe you had gotten something from it, or if there's someone in your life who may be struggling in these areas, then I encourage you to share this information with them. And then if you would like to schedule a session with me, I dive a little bit deeper into these areas, and I use applied kinesiology, muscle testing, so I can muscle test to see how far back this particular emotion was trapped. We can even go a little bit deeper if you want to go into a past life regression. But I definitely suggest that if you decide to do a session with me and you've never done one before, then diving a little bit more into the emotion code could be very beneficial. So I wish you all a beautiful now moment, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. You deserve to navigate your life as an empath in alignment with health, happiness, and abundance. To learn more about the services that I provide, including Beyond Quantum Healing Hypnosis, EFT tapping, and the emotion code, visit my website at www.thesoulcafe.org.